Hey guys, welcome to Spade and Saw. My wife was looking up a record crate the other day, and I thought to myself, hey, I could make one of those. I got plenty of wood. Here I'm removing some nails from these boards. I actually had to do this twice to both of the boards I'm going to be using for the handles on this crate. I had to pull the staples here out with pliers. I got the idea for my record crate from some photos I saw online, and I also pulled out a record sleeve to kind of do some measurements. I plan on cutting some holes into these boards once I've cut them down to size, and those holes are going to be where you can pick the crate up from. And now I'm just taking some measurements, but these actually already had some pencil markings on it, so I just went with what was there. And what was there was just the right fit for a record. I'm applying some work holding here and gonna bust out the old circular saw for this. I did try earlier to use my manual saw, and you'll see me later use my bit brace. I sometimes like to pick up the hand tools every now and again. When I cut this piece, I had realized I did not use my straight edge to make the cut, so it was just a little off, but not too much. This one I busted out my speed square for this, and it made the cuts straight. I was going to do a little sanding here just to kind of straighten out the edge a bit. I'm just going to clamp these boards together like so. And just going to do a quick couple strokes with my sander here. I have an 80 grit piece of sandpaper on it, and that should straighten out most of the edge there, or at least enough to where it looks good. And now I'm going to use some straight edges here to locate my handle holes that I'm going to map out. I didn't really have any instructions or anything. Like I said, I just looked at some photos and got some inspiration and just kind of used my best judgment and used some measurements. Like for these handles, I kind of measured them down a certain way and at a certain spot. I basically just mirrored them as best as I could. They definitely weren't exact, but they were good enough for what I'm doing here. So now I'm just going to drill some holes in. I started here with my power drill, and as earlier as I mentioned, I'm going to bust out my bit brace. Let them spread in there, and then as long as you got a hex bit of some sort, you'll hold it pretty good. And I'm on my second piece here, just going to do pretty much the same deal where I'm going to drill these holes in, and the part I haven't recorded yet is actually using the jigsaw to cut out the holes. That's because on the first piece recording that I didn't do the best job, and this one I honestly didn't do the greatest job either, but I still got the recording, so I put it in to show you that all you need to do is just drill some holes and then use your jigsaw to finish the shape out. And for the technology, I made sure to kind of cap the volume here. It got pretty loud. Also, I left my radio on in the background, so that's why a lot of this video, you probably won't hear too much of the noise in the background. I did try to do like an ASMR effect, but it didn't work out, especially because I just needed to turn off my radio. But here's the two handles. Like I said, they're not perfect, but they came out good enough. And here I'm rip cutting the tongues off of some tongue and groove board that I had. I recently acquired this for free from a friend. Shout out to Don. The faces of these tongue and groove boards are different. One side is almost like laminated and flat, which I am going to use for the outside of this crate. And the other side is textured, and there's a lot of nail holes and such in it. I also left the groove in because I didn't see that as too much of an issue. It kind of gives it a little bit of a look, and I felt like if I took the groove out, it would cut the board down too small, and I really wanted to have a nice large piece to use, so that way it would cover up the crate nicely. While I know that this isn't the safest setup for a table saw, this is all I could really do. I need to really clean my shop out. It's gotten a little cramped in there, but I'm glad I'm able to at least pull the table saw out and do something like this. Anyways, I see a lot of people do it, so definitely means that it's okay for me to do it. Now that the boards are all rip cut, I'm going to go ahead and take them in and cut them down to size. And now to just cut these down. This was a pretty quick process. I didn't show all the boards. To get the sandpaper into the handles, I found this to be the best method. It's flat, and I was able to sand all the sides of the handles and get them looking real good. And now I'm just sanding down the faces of these boards. I want to probably oil these a little bit or do like a little bit of a dark stain. I was doing this for my wife, so I was gonna show her it and then ask her what she would like it to look like. And then after that, I went after the laminate side to kind of bust the laminate down a little bit. Like I said, I wanted to put a stain on this, and I wanted the stain to hold. And now it's time for the fun part. I get to put the crate together, and for the bottom, I wanted to make sure it had the best holding power, so I put some glue. Hold it in place too. And I added some work holding because I didn't want this to fall, but it's not completely necessary, and I think you can actually hear me say it in the video. The plan was to do some just talking straight to the camera, but that didn't really work out in this video. Makes this a lot easier, but it's not necessary. It's never necessary. I start by drilling some pilot holes first, and then I put the screws in. The screws should help keep this bottom nice and rigid. I wanted to make it as sturdy as possible because when you pile a lot of records onto something, they get heavy. Yet to be done. Now that the bottom's put together, I'm going to work on the sides here, and I'm just going to put 3 boards across. And with that, I was just going to brad nail these in. I probably could have used some glue, but I just went straight for the nails. I liked doing this project a lot. I don't get too many opportunities to use my nail gun. Pretty easy project, and thanks for watching.